Hey y'all, this video is to give you some more inspiration in utilizing the halftone pattern filter. There are two halftone filters and I want to make you aware of that. It would be nice if I first made any layer an active layer, and then you're going to find the first one under Pixelate, and that's color halftone. And we'll have another lesson for that another day. The one we are working with is under the sketch category, and it's a halftone pattern. And I want you to think about the word pattern and what that means to you. What it means to me is that it would make great patterns or patterns to use as textures. I have here my finished example of what I did, but I'm going to turn all this off. We can leave the text on. It won't hurt to leave that on. And go through and show you what I did. Go ahead and make a duplicate of your original image. Now, the halftone filter does utilize the background and the foreground color. So we could set the background and the foreground color to black and white. We could, let's just go in and look at it. See what it does with it, with the photo in color and the foreground and background color in black and white. I'm running a little low on RAM today. Guess I should have closed a few things out. There it comes. And let's reduce the size of this so you can see what it does. And here it is, it's turning the whole image black and white. And we have our three pattern choices: your line, your circle, and your dot. And then you have the size of the pattern and the contrast of the pattern. The lower contrast, see, makes it softer and more like a newspaper print if you use the dot, and the higher makes it more defined. So that's what that looks like. See, I guess I should have scooted this over so you could see circle, dot. I didn't realize it was off the recording screen, and line. We're going to hit cancel, and I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, make this layer black and white. Just use the default and see if that makes any difference, just so that we can see and learn more about this. Came right up that time. Make it smaller. You can see there's really no difference. So it is all dependent on the background and the foreground colors. So we have our image here, and I'm going to help you to think outside the box a little bit. I'm going to grab my color picker and get a green from the grass and get this yellow from the trees, and let's see what we get. Oops, I went out a little too far for you. So we get this effect here, and we can soften it, and we have our lines. Now we can stop there, but I want to encourage you to remember that you can stack these filters in the gallery. And so we are in the filter gallery now, and I'm going to go ahead. We've used line for the first one. I'm going to make a new one, and it just duplicates that. You can see before and after what it did. even inverted the colors, which is a good tip to remember. But what if we change it to dot? Now we have lines on the first one and dots on the second one. And so you can play and mix and match these in any way that you want. And so then click OK, and this is what we end up with. Well, that's not very good looking. So now let's go ahead and play with the blending modes. And I always try overlay first, and that looks pretty cool. I actually like it. It's very similar to what I ended up with my final result, which was this one. You can see it. The colors I chose were a little brighter yellow. So I want to zoom in so that you can see what kind of cool effect it had and what kind of cool texture. And this is what it did on the white stone, and this is what it did up here in the grass. And so you could even think about adding this as a texture to digital scrapbooking paper, especially if you just created a 50% gray layer and then applied it to that. And we can do that here. Let's see what happens. But before we do that, let's look at this. This is the one with just the lines only that I tried, and it's pretty cool. But to me it didn't have as dramatic of effect as this one. And what I ended up doing, I really though liked, and I tossed back and forth, I really liked my original image and the stone. And so even though this was cool, I ended up selecting the stone and deleting it and just applying that to the other layers. That's what I decided to do for my final image. Let's go ahead and do a 50% gray just to see. Edit, fill. Let's fill the layer with 50% gray and run this filter. We'll just run the one we already did. Oh, but see, it's got that black, the background color as the colors I had chosen. I had forgotten about that. Wasn't what I was going for, but you could do it like that. It works pretty cool. But let's go back and hit Control D on the not Control D, but just isn't it D? Yeah, the background and the foreground color change, and we're going to run the filter again, and now we get this cool pattern. And we can change the blending modes and have it on our layer. So that's pretty cool. And if you run through the variety of blending modes, of course you're going to get a variety of effects. That one doesn't do anything. That one is horrible. But you'll find one and it'll go, wow, that's cool. So let's go back and I'll show you some other ideas. Applied the texture as I had it. I'm using the soft light, and I actually only have the texture on my grass and on the walkway. But I decided I wanted a little extra oomph behind the title, and so I created this layer. You can see what a great effect that has to add to it. And to make that, all I did was created a new layer. Let's move it up. And used a brush tool and just used my brush to kind of do right here underneath my title. You could get more specific if you wanted and draw lines on each layer with a smaller brush. Then I decided to run the Gaussian Blur a little bit to blur it out, and then I ran the Halftone Pattern, and I think I did the dots. Got to zoom out here so we can see what we've got going on. Increase the size and the contrast. It's currently not working very well. It's not changing it at all in the preview. How weird is that? Worked perfectly the last time. Let's run it and see what happens. Absolutely nothing. So what is the deal? I think actually what I did last time is create another new layer. Go in here and make your settings 50% gray. 0, 0, and 50 make 50% gray, and then apply the brush. I know that's what I did last time. I didn't have the total black, so hey, we all just learned together. Blur, Gaussian blur. I blurred it up, and then filter, render, nope, filter, sketch, halftone pattern. Now it's working. So you can see it doesn't work very well on that total black image. And then I had this, and then I began changing the various blending modes until I come up with, you know, something that I thought would work with the title. And you know, each time you play, things are going to be different. Remember, you can lower the opacity too, and I could have had that one right there. Might have worked just fine also, but this is the one I ended up using, and I ended up using it with the overlay, and you can see mine is a little bit darker. I think the reason for that is because when we ran it on this one here, let's hit undo. We're all going to learn together. Let's hit D on the back to hit our background of foreground color to black and white, and go in here and run that halftone filter again. Now you can see it's more black and white, just like I had before. And actually, I think what I did, just have to remember, I ran the Gaussian blur again afterwards to kind of soften it, because I thought it was too much. See, now we're getting more like the original that I had, and I hit overlay. So there's so many things that you can do. It's fun because you can just get in here and play until you get something that you think is cool. I mean, that's pretty cool. I almost stuck with that, but it kind of didn't go with my theme. It didn't highlight the stones as well. So even though I really liked that, I kind of took it back out and just did the texture everywhere else. I want you to think about also maybe extracting someone. If you extracted someone from your layout and then converted that extraction you know, to a 50% gray, run the Gaussian blur on it, and then run this filter on it, you're going to have kind of a spray of dots behind the person. Just like this, only it's going to be shaped like that person. And so we're just going to go ahead and try what I'm trying to discuss, and I've not tried this before. And so I'm going to get a shape tool, and I have the arrow selected already, so I'm just going to make an arrow and simplify it. I'm going to duplicate that layer by using Control J. Let's turn off the top layer and go to the bottom layer. Hold down the Control key, click on the thumbnail to get marching ants around our arrow. Go to Edit, Fill Selection with 50% gray. I'm going to deselect, go to the Filter drop-down menu, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and just blur that right on out. And then go to the Filter menu, Sketch, Halftone Pattern, And you can see here I have that halftone going on the arrow. Let's see, do we want to increase that up? I'm going to. Oh, I don't like the way the high contrast looks. I'm going to bring the contrast down. Just doing something random here. Now you can see I have a shape of my arrow, and if we turn the original one on, well, that covers it up. That isn't good. Told you I'm playing as we go along. So I'm going to go to the first one and resize it up. There we go. So something to this effect. You could even kind of offset it, put it above the other one. Of course, I've got some of my swish going off the page. Resize it down so the swish is all there. And so, you know, you could do something to this effect. What happens if we apply that Gaussian blur after the fact? Nope, I don't like the way that takes away the... so basically, to get it the way you want it, this would be good for this particular shape. I'm going to hold down the control key and try moving it around and distorting the shape. So you can do whatever works. Don't like that change. I liked it better like that. I wish it were bigger and went around all the edges. So let me see what happens if I just, oops, don't do that. Make sure you're on the right layer. Let me make it even bigger. And then just kind of distort it down. I'm just playing. Okay, there we go, see? That's more what I was thinking. I don't know if it is or isn't. Not quite. But still, you know, you add that and blend it in and it'd be cool. So, hey, get your imagination working and have some fun.